I wanted to start off by, because I know there are some people who probably this is the first time that you're hearing about, and of course ACMK, sorry, Nation. I have not forgotten about you kids. Um, I wanted to start by maybe just doing an introduction about who we are, who has invited you here, and what is this organization about. And so maybe you can just give me a few minutes with your permission so that we can kind of do an overview and then you can kind of understand the context within which we are presenting this certification. So the PMI, or a Project Management Institute Kenya, is an association of, it's a professional association of over 800 members currently. In fact, the growth that we have seen this year is over 200%, because at the beginning in January we were about 380. And now, because of a lot of what is happening and because of a lot of interest, we have seen that the membership has gone up, and that is a reflection of the renewed interest, or the heightened interest in project management that is happening in the industry. And we are part of the Global Project Management Institute, which is in USA. And for them, they have over 600, almost 650,000 members. And you can see our vision there is to entrench project management as a national competence. We do that through empowering individuals. Those are the members. And then we do that through promotion, which is talking about what project management is. In fact, you'll find that in Kenya, we don't have everybody who understands what project management is about. And so we have to speak about it and kind of unpack it in a way that people can understand. And we've noticed that actually over the years, the maturity of project management has increased. And you can tell that by the number of people who are beginning to join the profession of project management. We also do that through that entrenchment process, or that goal to entrench project management as a national competence. Right now, people don't understand what it is, but it is a key delivery. Project management actually is the core discipline for delivery of business strategy. If we are not able to have some form of a framework or something that is going to be able to deliver a vision to a reality, even through the projects that a lot of us are implementing, this is not going to be possible. And so we do that through advancing the profession and science of project management in Kenya. We talk a lot about it. This is just a quick overview about the PMI Global. So over almost 700,000 members globally. And you can see that the certifications are 1.6 million. In fact, the membership of PMI is interesting in the sense that you don't have to be a member of the PMI Institute to be a project manager. It is worth your while because of the benefits that you're going to get. But you'll see that a lot of people are looking at the gold standard of PMP, which has got, out of 1.6 million certified people, 1.2 are in the PMP, which is the more recognized or the global standard in project management. And we have a host, actually PMI has a host of certifications. They're actually 17, and with Raphael's new certification, I believe now we are at 18. But we are all in over 200 countries and territories, over 300 chapters globally. The institutions or the chapters that are running PMI are purely volunteer-based. In fact, you'll find we are about 14,000 globally, and in Nairobi, in Nairobi chapter, we are about almost 7. I think we're almost 70. Yes. And so that is how we are just, these are just people who are very passionate about project management, and they talk about it wherever they go. How PMI contributes to the profession is through research. In fact, the reason why there's so much credibility about PMI is because it is ISO. It's very attached, or it is linked strongly to ISO certifications, especially 17024, which is a quality management ISO certification. And they do a lot of research, and the standards that they're creating, the kind of certifications that they're creating are based on best practices, research, a lot of collaborations, a lot of input from stakeholders in those particular areas. And then the advocacy that they do in terms of global standards, even in education, they've got accreditation. So when you're linked, or when you have the PMI backing, that means that at least there is that form of science, or there is evidence-based data that is supporting everything that this institution is doing. This is why actually we find that we can be able to attach ourselves or link to this particular, to PMI. In Africa, PMI chapter, we are in over 20 countries. You can see them all linked. And in East Africa, we have got them in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and a lot in the south and also in the west. And Kenya is one of the fastest growing and the most active and decorated chapters in Africa. Actually, when we started in 2012, and then we've been kind of growing. Now we are at 800, the largest. We are one of the top 4 chapters in Africa after, I think there's Ghana, Nigeria, and South Africa. So we are really, for us, and that just expresses the kind of interest in Kenya that we're getting. And Kenyans love their academics, their thinkers, their innovators, their change makers. And you can see that in the kind of membership numbers that we've got. About 8% of our membership are volunteers. We have got very strong partnerships with the universities that you can see right there. We've got the Catholic University. We have Mount Kenya University, Southeastern Kenya University, and I'll show you a bit about that. We also have the University of Nairobi. And I want to tell you that once we got the partnership that we've got with the University of Nairobi is a significant one. Not to say that the rest are not, but University of Nairobi is the only university globally that actually issues project management education from certificate level all the way to PhD. It's the only one in the world. Because most of the other universities either do an undergraduate or they do a postgrad, or they don't do both. They'll do either the undergrad, either the masters, or they do the PhD. But University of Nairobi has, which is one of the biggest, and it's a public university in Kenya. Actually, this one is big because for us, the kind of partnerships that we're looking at with the universities is to try and equip students from when they're graduating. So the built environment is actually one of the target markets when it comes to this particular PMI-CP. We've also targeted a lot of youth who are probably outside of the education sector. Janet, who is with our youth and social good, we've actually targeted, we've spoken to and touched and reached to over 1,000 youth with what we call the PM life skills. And what we're trying to do is to build that thinking about, kind of embedding the thinking of project management right from the get-go so that they can even get into kind of entrepreneurship. They can get into areas where they can, in a very organized fashion, where they can be able to make a difference because they're also change makers. If you'll see a lot of the banners that are around you, we have the annual Project Management Excellence Awards. That's one of the ways that we're trying to entrench project management in Kenya. We're trying to create this excellence, this culture of excellence in project execution. And we're very glad that actually we have got a couple of regulators, and we're having another meeting tomorrow in the evening where we invited some of the regulators also to come and talk to us about, to come and see what project management is about. So if you've got, and most of your organizations that are here, they've all implemented some form of initiative or a project. Yes? Nominate your organizations for project for excellence. There must be a project that you guys did that actually was shining, or it made the organization shine. Yes? So what you do is that you just nominate your organization and you get this global certification or this global recognition, because what we want to do is to highlight best of people, individuals and corporations who are doing best of class kind of standards in project management. And we also have our PDD, as you can see there. And this one is just to embed or to continue to promote that information about project management. So we've got a full professional development day, which is like a career day. It is actually like a career day that we're going to do in December 9th. This is the board. The governance of PMI Kenya is actually quite strictly governed by a board. And some of our board members are here. And they're different, they represent those different dockets, and they're supporting the membership, they're supporting the learning, they're supporting a lot of the marketing, things that are happening that are going to be able to grow the professional project management. And maybe I can just ask one or two board members. I've got some board members here. I've got, I can see Barbara has just walked in, and I can see Ken and Janet on that table. Karibune. In terms of our membership highlights, I just wanted to kind of show you some of the demographic, some of the numbers. We have about, right now we are at 800, about 64% of our members are credentialed, which means that most people who are joining us actually are either coming to get a credential, they stay so that they can network with the other professionals who are in the chapter. And then we get about now we started, in the beginning we used to get maybe about five to about 6 members who are getting credentialed, and we've doubled that number over time. And this last month, I think we had about 18 people? Yeah, we had 18 credentials in different areas. And so this is just a lot of interest which is coming in across the board. I wanted to talk about project management, the outlook in project management. When you look at it globally, if you look at other countries, especially some of the developed economies, you find that actually they are projectized economies. And that means that for them, they run everything as projects. I worked in Canada and in the US, and everything that is there, or the way that the organizations are structured, it's about project management. They are looking at how do we implement PMOs, project management organizations, or EPMOs, enterprise project management organizations, or structures that are just purely bent on prioritizing and running projects. And I'm sure even for you guys who are running projects continuously, right? We must have some form of a structure or a framework that is actually looking at those projects. And this is what is happening globally. And as a result of that, project managers are consistently, they are seen as an important contributor to successful delivery of project strategy. Some of the project intensive sectors you can see there, manufacturing, business services, finance, insurance, oil and gas. These are also, and construction and utilities, these are all in Kenya. These are all in Kenya. But you'll find that they're exclusively just looking at them, and they're running them from a project management perspective. Some of the interesting stats, and some of the stats for that can affect us also in Kenya, like for the 88 million, the 88 million is the number of individuals for project management that are going to be coming up by the year of 2027. That means that more and more, the world is actually turning more and more into a projectized economy. If you look at some of the organizations, like Germany, 41% of their GDP is actually based on project-oriented kind of roles, projects that are running. If you look at an organization like IBM, they don't even have roles which are not assigned or which are not aligned to a specific project. And that's where you're beginning to see now the turn in some of the organizations where if it is not project, if your role is not attached to a project, they don't need that role. Yeah, maybe you'll have an admin or something, but a lot of this is what we're seeing happening, and therefore we are the projection is that the demand over the next 10 years is going to be faster. So what's happening in Kenya? We are beginning to see that project management is beginning to be acknowledged. Yeah, it is a steady growth, but it is a very important recognition. In fact, when you look at most of the organizations, like a public sector, private sector have always been interested in project management, and they've been absorbing it very, very steadily. Public sector is where we're beginning to see some interest. We're beginning to see that actually the role of project management is a key role. It is a professional role. It is not a hobby. Project management is not a hobby. This association is not of hobbyists. This is actually a professional association, just like a lawyer, just like an architect, just like an engineer. Actually, that is what it is. A lot of people don't see that kind of equivalence. And as a result of that, we're beginning to see that people are they're beginning to accept and beginning to create those roles because we're being seen as important contributors to the delivery of business strategy. Same sectors, maybe a little bit less. Estimated right now, the data about project management in Kenya is not that strong, but we do have some estimates, about 4,000 PMI professionals. That means about 5% are registered in PMI Kenya. So we're trying to get more and more. In fact, by the end of this year, we're trying to get to 1,000 members, so that at least we can build this body of profession. You can look at the industries. Kind of the demographics of PMI Kenya. We are in agriculture, in the built environment. We're in consultancy. We're in education, engineering. Yeah, we're in health, ICT. We've got a lot of people who are in the NGO sector, oil and gas, and even aviation and fast move and FMCG. Yeah. So I think this is just a way of us just acknowledging that there's a lot happening. These are the universities that we've talked about that we're already in partnership with. The criticality of this means that we can actually start equipping the students from the time that they're coming out of school. When they're graduating, we've created project management clubs. So there's a lot that's happening that's outside of the realm of maybe the industry, but we want to connect them so that by the time they come in, then they can be able to speak. Before I leave, I just wanted to point out a couple of important events that I think might interest you. And I believe that for you, as you're beginning to recognize project management and where it fits in your organizations, some of these events are going to interest you. We do have the PDD, like I mentioned before. We've got 3 work streams in business acumen, ways of working, and some of the new trends that are coming in. So please, if you're interested in this, or if you're interested, or if you believe that you need to build capacity in your organizations about project management, this is the event for you. Come in, it's going to be on December the 9th. And then, of course, I've mentioned the National Project Management Excellence. Honestly, if your organizations are running projects, and I know all of you are running projects, I know all your organizations, you're all running projects in one form or another. This is an important excellence awards in terms of even just stamping the what is it called? Not the approval, but kind of to acknowledge that you're doing the right thing. And what we look at is, it's in different categories: in project of the year, project manager of the year. Even if maybe you don't have the project, maybe you have a person that really excels in projects, and you can do that. So let me just challenge you. The deadline for that is on the 14th of November. More exciting news is that next year Kenya is going to be hosting the PMI Africa conference. I'm telling you, we went to Lagos in last month, and we came back with this flag that you can see there. We were given the flag. We're told, come, this is where the project management conference is going to be held. It's going to be in September next year. And so what I want to challenge you is that how much do you want to get involved in project management? How well do you want to align with the project management in that profession? By this time next year, I can assure you that we'll probably be at more than 1,500 professionals who are going to be running projects, and we would love for you to be part of this, so that we can now elevate this narrative about project management.